Again, thank you to the Seattle Seahawks. Thank you to USA Football. Thank you to WIAA for this is a pretty cool event that we get to participate in. It's kind of interesting, kind of nerve-wracking a little bit for these guys, but that's all fun. My name is Nate Gillum. I'm the head football coach at Bremerton High School. This will go into my 10th year at Bremerton High School. We struggled in the past. Kind of came into a kind of a program that was kind of floundering about 10 years ago, and we built it up, and we've kind of gotten back on track, so to speak. I think we're the only team here in this event that's representing the Olympic Peninsula. We're a short ferry ride across from Seattle, competing with some really solid teams over there. Olympic Peninsula sort of sometimes gets overlooked because even though we're literally a 60-minute ride from Seattle, we still, we have some pretty decent teams over there. As far north as Port Angeles, Sequim. Coming down a little bit closer, we have Olympic High School, North Kitsap High School, Kingston High School, and North Mason High School are the teams that will play this year. So it's pretty solid. We're looking forward to a good, solid year, coming back with a good senior class, and again, a really, really solid freshman and sophomore class as well. So that's the Bremerton Knights.
Last year we had a lot of injuries and stuff that we had to play a lot of young kids. So we were playing like a lot of first-year players, freshmen that haven't really played high school football that much. So next year I think it'll be different because we'll senior-led. Our team's pretty much back intact.
I think last year was more like of a wake-up call because 2 years ago we went to playoffs and we were pretty solid, and we had a huge senior class, and so we kind of took that as well, that was us now. But what we didn't think of last year is that we have to make like our own way, since we lost 29 seniors, and as he was saying, we had a lot of injuries and a lot of people out, and some people didn't choose to play. But so last year we had a young team, but this year we have a lot of seniors coming up, and we have an older team this year. So
no, I've actually had the privilege of coming out a couple times to some of the WIA coaches school sponsored by the Seahawks, things like that, and kind of opportunity to kind of watch the Seahawks through their success through the past few years. And Coach Carroll, of course, read his book. If you haven't read his book, read his book. He didn't pay me to say that either, so. This is my 17th or 18th year as a head football coach, and you sort of have to evolve for the kids these days. Kids are, I hate to make me sound 100 years old when I say this, but kids are different. Kids are different nowadays. You have to communicate with them differently. You have to approach their state of mind a little bit differently. The days of yelling and screaming and hollering and all that sort of thing, kids just shut you down. And so I think that's why Coach Carroll's had such success at the level he's had, and the things that he's done at that level have trickled down, at least in our case. I've tried to take that on, change the way I approach coaching, be a little bit more philosophical, if that makes any sense, rather than screaming and holler, why can't you do this? And then you ask them legitimately, why can't you do this? And then it's more of a dialogue at this point, which is hard for some of the quote unquote old school coaches to have a dialogue with a player when you're the coach and they're the player. Sometimes you need to, we got to get out of that mindset and let the players understand, that they're pretty important in this game. I mean, they're, like I've said, I haven't touched the field in 20 years, so stood on the sideline for a long time. So that's kind of the way I approach it, and hopefully these guys can see that. Some of these guys are seniors, and I don't know, and you can ask probably Calvin and Connor here, if they've seen a change in our coaching staff over the past few years. I don't know. I'll pass it to put Calvin on the spot here.
There has been a big change in our coaching staff over the past years. We've lost our workout coach, main workout coach, Ron Atkins, and he was a big part of our motivation too, as well, in winning the Olympic League in 2012. So just losing him and but we had gained many other coaches and many other great coaches over the past years this year, and I'm pretty sure that we will do great this year with that coaching staff.
Well, I played here my freshman year, and then I went to South, so I'm coming back now. So I mean, like, I feel like we're gonna do good this year. We've been working on just everything that we need to do to be better and stuff, and it's making us feel good about the season. Like, I feel like we're gonna be good. I feel like we're gonna do good. So.
Done any 7-on-7s or any?
Yeah, we've done 7-on-7 scrimmages, stuff like that. So we're kind of confident about what we're gonna do this year, I guess.
I always equate it to, we kind of have two, if you will. You know, kind of everybody kind of looks at the University of Washington, WSU, sort of cross-state rivals. But really it's sort of a friendly game, kind of neighbor versus neighbor. So I would say that rival for us would be Olympic High School, because we're literally next door, within 5 miles of each other. But if you want to have a heated rival, like you would say a University of Washington or a University of Oregon sort of rivalry, that would probably be North Kitsap. So that you know, two different types of rivalries, but both pretty solid games, both pretty solid teams. Both of them they're always good. North Kitsap's always real solid. But if you know you're going to have a good season and you're going to do okay, if we play those two teams pretty well.
I would say, like, transitioning to turf is a little different, like the texture and like making cuts and stuff. Like, it's not as soft and like squishy. And then for like when teams come to us, especially out there, like the rain and the mud makes it difficult for them because they're not used to like the mud like sliding, and so they can't cut as easy. But yeah, it's us and North Mason. North Mason has a pretty bad field as well. Like, theirs is actually worse than ours. Like, so playing theirs is not fun when it rains. So yeah, I'd say us, like North Mason and us, have probably the best home field advantage when it rains and stuff.